And to our final story. Kenya has hit pause on a major trade deal with China. Nairobi is reportedly holding back after pressure from the Trump administration. At stake is a near $1 billion agreement with Beijing and Kenya's access to future US trade programs. Reports say Kenya has not completely pulled the plug on this deal, but final approval has been delayed as it weighs economic gains from China against strategic access to US markets and security partnerships. The warning from Washington is clear. Moving too quickly towards Beijing could undercut Kenya's chances of joining any future US trade framework. And that includes a successor to the African Growth and Opportunity Act, or AGOA. For 25 years, AGOA allowed many Kenyan goods duty-free access to the US market. Textiles and agriculture were the two main commodities exported, which brought in millions of dollars a year in revenue and boosted tens of thousands of jobs. However, AGOA expired in September 2025, and the impact for Nairobi was immediate. Kenyan apparel exports worth over $600 million a year were hit with tariffs as high as 28%, and as a result, manufacturers now warn more than 66,000 jobs are at risk. So what was China offering to Kenya? That compelled the US to step in. Under an early harvest pact with China, Beijing would reportedly cut tariffs on Kenyan exports, including tea, coffee, avocados, and fish. The goal was to reduce Kenya's trade deficit with Beijing, while more than 20 side deals were also negotiated across manufacturing, agriculture, and tourism. In return, China would secure raw material supplies, including titanium ore, and deepen its commercial footprints in East Africa. Kenya's President William Ruto advanced the deal during his 2025 visit to Beijing. But the agreement did not stall on its own. It froze after the pressure from the United States became a factor. Kenya is not a marginal player. The port of Mombasa is East Africa's busiest, moving goods across the region. Kenya is also central to US counter-terrorism operations in the Horn of Africa against groups like Al-Shabaab. At the same time, China holds more Kenyan debt than any other country. But Kenya is not the only one stuck between two global giants. Other African countries have faced similar trade-offs. In Zambia, debt restructuring only moved forward in 2023 after China accepted IMF terms supported by the United States. And in Ghana, 2024 debt negotiations forced the government to balance Chinese obligations. This against conditions set by Western leaders such as the US, UK, France, and Germany. Analysts say the pattern is familiar. When African states deepen economic ties with China, Washington responds through trade access, financing, and institutions it influences. And now, Kenya is now part of that broader pattern. For now, Nairobi has not walked away from Beijing, as the deal still remains on the table. Kenya is just measuring what it stands to gain and what it cannot afford to lose before making its next move.
The world doesn't fit in boxes, so why should your news? From battlefields to negotiation tables, from internet outrage to real-world injustice. The conversations everyone is having and the ones they're avoiding. It's the same show, but this new year, First Post America gets a new look. I'm Kerry Johnston, and this is First Post America.